You are being recorded, sir.
Alrighty. I'm ready to
All
start this whenever you are.
right, so the first question that I got was, "What are we doing?" And the only response that I have to that is, I'm just a regular kid. Um, I am I am however old I have to be to get your attention, right? I am. My name is Dezo, and I'm doing this podcast because I'm trying to let people know that there's somebody out there for them that cares, even if nobody that's close to you cares.
Well, my response to that question would have to be, I'm just I'm just another kid out there in the world trying to find his way. You know, it's just something all of us have to face.
That's how it's you. And the second thing I had somebody ask me why the fuck I sound like X, and my answer to that question is fuck you. I don't sound like X. And moving on.
Be a little nice
um,
nowadays, I know.
yeah. Okay. So moving on, the question that they asked is what do you have what do you have to do to get over an X? And then there's also I feel like these two questions pertain to each other is how to love yourself. And the reason I thought these pertain to each other is in order to love other people and be in a relationship with other people, you have to be able to love yourself and put yourself above others before you can put others above you.
So I actually find that question really interesting because I actually had a conversation with a good buddy of mine recently about that because he's all about helping other people before he helps himself, and I always have to tell him, I don't control your life or anything like that, brother, but you can't sit there and help everyone else if you can't sit there and help yourself. If you're not there for yourself, you can't be there for others.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially because I think people get the wrong impression on what on I feel like there's been a lot of people that have come up to me and asked me. It's also one of the other questions is what do you define love as? And my definition of love is it's a love is a very fragile thing. It can also be a very strong thing, but because the thing is love pertains very closely to trust. And the amazing thing about trust is that you can build it up and have so much trust, but it only takes one tiny thing to break all that trust. And trust is the foundation on love. Because if you can trust somebody enough that you tell them things that nobody else knows about you, then eventually you will trust that person with your heart. And that's what love is.
See, I feel similar but slightly different on that, on what love really is. Love is a very interesting concept that we all share, but not everyone has the same idea of. I would say love for yourself. Let's start with that. Love for yourself is when you can accept you for who you are and be able to not feel like you have to be somebody you're not. When you can just be yourself around whoever you're around and not feel like you can't be yourself, I feel like that's where self love is. If you sit there and pretend to be somebody else because you're not happy with who you are, it it makes it very hard for an individual to love themselves if they feel that they have to conform to what society wants them to be. Everyone is their very own unique, beautiful person. And like I'll say this right now. I can tell you I'm different than you. You're different than me. We come from different lives, different families, but we all share the fact that we're human deep down inside, and we're all bound to make mistakes and learn from said mistakes. And it's just a thing that I feel that we should all learn to love ourselves, because if we can't love ourselves, how can we love another?
That's similar to what I think. And the thing about mistakes too is that if you find someone who says that they love you for you and that they're going to change what they think about you, and they're there for you and they can take care of you, well, that's all good, right? But the thing is if they ask you to change, like, yeah, small things, right? Because love is all about changing. But if they ask you to change big, like really big things about yourself, then that's not love. That's how I feel. Because if they can't accept you for who you are, then that's not actually love. That's manipulation going on right there. And if all they ever want you to do is change, or it's really easy to be able to tell if somebody's manipulating you. And it's really sad, because most of love nowadays is people like teenagers, right? They think that love is a game, and it for the most part. If I was young or younger, I would still say that, yeah, love is a game. But now that I've grown up and I've seen what love does, I'd say that love is a very dangerous thing, because love can make or break somebody. And the mistakes that you make shouldn't, like, affect how somebody loves you. And if it does, then that's just not a good person.
And I can agree with you to a certain extent, obviously. Everyone makes mistakes in their lives, but there's a certain point when a mistake is not a mistake, it's a repeated process of something that shouldn't be happening. And I can get where people come from when they're upset with that. It's, again, love, especially when you're like trying to find your soulmate, your partner in crime, anything like that. When it comes to love like that, it's going to be a very tough thing to overlook sometimes when a mistake happens. Whether it's because you're being dumb and doing something you know you shouldn't, or whether you're doing something and you're not realizing it. Love is, it really is a dangerous thing, but you shouldn't look at it as, oh, I'm gonna get myself hurt from it. You should look at it as an opportunity to find more people that will care about you the same way you care about them. Because those connections that we make in life with other people that can turn into love will really help other people out. Because I know a lot of people go through tragedy on a daily basis, and they just feel so alone in their lives. And I personally want to say right here, right now, that I know not everyone will care as much as another, but I do truly hope that everyone finds that person that they will love for the rest of their life. It's going to be a tough, challenging thing, but if you give up, then you're giving up the chance to find happiness.
That's very true. I'd also very much like to stress the fact that love doesn't always have to be like, oh, I love this person so much that I want to have sex with this person. That's not what love is. Like, yeah, that happens sometimes, but there's many different forms of love. Love can be you and your parents, right? And you love them, so they're your parents. You expect them to take care of you, and you love them for it. but there's also friendships that you like, you love them in their friendship, but there's also a point to where you love somebody so much that it's unhealthy. Like if somebody is hurting you and you love them, but they hurt you, and it hurts both of you, and they just aren't willing to admit it because you love them, and people will take advantage of that sometimes. And yeah, love isn't always a bad thing, but with my experiences with love and heartbreak is that, I I've been taken advantage of a lot in relationships, which I don't mean to discourage any of you guys out there from ever having a relationship. It's just you have to be aware of whenever you go into a relationship that there can always be a situation that will result in heartbreak, and it's heartbreak is a very strong, powerful thing that hurts more than anything else.
I would never I would never let heartbreak just be something to cause you to let you get down or upset and not do anything. Sometimes stuff like heartbreak, even losing somebody you have loved your entire life, whether it's a family member or a dear close friend, don't let yourself get down and out for the count just because this happened. I understand that stuff like that can be extremely hard, considering I've had many people in my life pass or leave or abuse the fact of how much of a loving, caring person I am. But you always want to look back on the fond memories you've shared with this person and love them for who they are. And if they've done you wrong, which there's plenty of people out there that have, you don't have to love someone to care about them or anything like that. Sometimes it's better to let go. Sometimes it's better to take that pain and build yourself on it. Don't let the pain build on you. Build on the pain. Make yourself a better person. Make yourself do something. Whether that's go get a job, go help other people in their own lives, because a lot of people out there are lost and don't know what to do with themselves. Sometimes all you need is a hobby to go enjoy yourself. Sometimes you just need to go volunteer. There's plenty of things out there to help yourself and help others in the same process.
I agree completely and totally with you. And the one of the big questions that I get from people is, you know, how do I stay out of my head, and how do I like make the pain go away? Because they come to me and they're like, I'm so depressed at this point that I was contemplating taking my own life, and I was told to come and talk to you. And I was like, well, going numb is never the answer. Like, going numb, it solves the pain for a specific period of time in your life, right? But after that period of time is done, the pain comes back 3 times as strong and it hurts. It burns, and it just it hurts so much. And the fact that I went numb when I lost my best friend in a shootout, and after he died, I just kind of went numb, and I didn't like talk to anybody, and I stuck to myself, and I realized it was like going numb might solve the pain, but it pushes everybody away that need you and need you to be there for them. And I think the best way that you can not be inside of your own head is by talking to other people about your emotions. Like me and my friend Dubs over here. I'm Dazo, by the way. My Snapchat is Dazo Crone. We are always willing to talk to you, like always. We will always be here. We will support you with everything that you're going through, And like he's a very good person, and we both know what it's like to have heartbreak and pain. And it's not fun. It's really not fun. But you just have to look at the bright side and come into contact with something that you really love, and then focus on what you love. Because if you what my grandpa always told me before he dies, he was like, if you get a job doing what you like doing, you're never going to work a day in your life. And I find that very true, because if you do what you love doing, then you feel like you've never worked, and it helps so much.
As I've always been told, you know, and for young people, this can be really hard to do because we're younger, we're not as experienced in life and finding jobs and all of that. But I've always been told, don't look for a job, look for a career. And sometimes you have to do these jobs before you can get into the career that you're going to find and love that can help you. And there's all sorts of careers and jobs out there and opportunities for people to get into this kind of stuff that a lot of people do not realize.
And it's I also find that the fact that love is such a beautiful thing whenever you really look at it, because it's delicate, and it's to be treated with so much care. And the fact that it can cause the emotions that it does is just amazing, because if you look at love scientifically, it is definitely a chemical that causes animals to breed. And it's not just a chemical, though. It is also something that it is it is good for you. And yeah and the thing is and the thing is it's the fact that love can cause depression is just it's insane to me, because something so good can cause something so negative, right? And the fact that love can also cause like these relationships where you see old people and they're together and they're like 90 years old and they die together, and it's so beautiful when that happens, but it can also get really ugly, and it makes life not have meaning, if you know what I mean. And it takes away the meaning from your life, and you can't let it do that. You always have to be stronger than love, because if you just let love berate you and beat you down, then you really it's really hard to come back up from it, and we're all still learning.
I feel that love in reality, the pursuit of love can sometimes cause people to have, really bad relationships with anyone, especially a partner. Love is it's dangerous. It really is. But don't ever let the pursuit of love and a bad experience cause you to never want to love again. Because I've met plenty of people in my life, again, who for a while went through a really bad breakup, like really bad, and they became a very cold-hearted person over it, and they started to seclude themselves, and they just didn't talk to anybody for a very, very long time. And it broke my heart to see stuff like that, because these were people I had grown up with, I had known, and that even though I wasn't in love with them, I loved them for who they are and who they were, the kind of person they were. They did a lot to make others happy. And I I did everything I could to help them come out of this depressed state from such a bad experience. And 90% of the time I could help, but there's times where you're not the person that can help them. And it really sucks. It really hurts. But as a human being, we're not able to do everything on our own. Sometimes you just have to be patient. Other times you need help. Other times you need somebody to just listen to what you say. And I've found out in many experiences, from my friends telling me stories, from my own personal story, is that sometimes you just need someone to listen so that you don't feel so alone.
I find that statement to be very true, because when you just fall out of a relationship, and you've invested all your time and energy into that relationship, and you kind of let your friends go whenever you get into a relationship. Like, you guys still talk, right? But you guys aren't going to be as close as you were before, because whether you notice it or not, you subconsciously actually flirt with all of your friends, and you guys become close, and you might not like be attracted to each other, but you guys become close, because flirting is a thing that makes people closer to each other. And when you don't do that anymore, when you're in a relationship, it kind of pushes people away a little bit. And the thing is, it's really hard to come back and love somebody after you've been let down and loved. But the thing is, you always have to try, right? You can never give up. If there's one thing you guys take away from this podcast, is that whenever some shit happens that you know sucks, right? You never give up. You can't give up, because if you give up, then you're giving the world what it wants, right? The world wants you to fail. The world wants you to die and fail, right? You control your own destiny, and that's the thing is, it's so sad. One of the questions that I is, well, you were addicted to heroin and meth, right? And I was like, yeah, I was addicted to heroin and meth for about 2 years. And he asked me, he was like, well, I'm addicted to meth and heroin right now, and it 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 just it sucks, and I want to get out of it, but I can't. And my answer to that is, the thing that was most important to me when I was addicted to heroin and meth was the realization that I could do better with my life, and that I deserved better. If you don't think that you deserve better, then I suggest you talk to somebody that will make you believe that you deserve better. And after you believe that you deserve better, you'll honestly, you'll just start living differently, and eventually there'll come a point in your life where something will happen. Like, for me, it was when 7 of my friends overdosed in the same car as me, and it was a really sad experience, because I was the only one that didn't die, because I was the only one that didn't drink that night. And it was a really sad experience for me, because I watched all of my friends die around me. And at that point in time, I had heroin on me, so I couldn't do the Good Samaritan law thing. And it was heartbreaking, right? Because I realized that if I didn't change, I was gonna hurt somebody more than I just got hurt, because there's lots of people that love and care about you. I love and care about each and every person that I ever meet, because I know that not everybody has somebody to love and care about them. And I cherish everybody's existence, because I feel like you are a blessing to the earth. And if I can make a difference in somebody's life, I'm gonna do that.
I feel the same way. If I can ever help anyone, I feel like I need to try. And it's not because, oh, this person's sad, I have to try to help them. It's more of a, this person's sad, upset. Maybe I know what they're going through. Maybe I can help them get through their own life and figure out a solution to their problems. And one day they can perhaps help another person, or do something so great with their lives that you would have never thought that they would have done something so beautiful and amazing. You never know what somebody's going to do until they do it. And some of the most amazing people that I've ever met in my life are gone now. And I really wish I had done more at the time to help them. And because of these experiences, I didn't decide to let them control me. And I built myself to be better. I built myself to be someone that they could be proud of wherever they are now. Because I don't want to be that guy that's just a total letdown. I want to be the guy that sits there and helps everyone to the best they can. And I know I can't help everyone, but everyone I do help, it makes me feel warm to help these people that I know are going through a very rough time. Because everyone's got shit going on in their own life that they probably don't have any control over. And I may not know many, many people on this earth, but I do know that I love everyone. I would gladly give my life for another person if it meant they got to take another breath.
I completely agree with that, and the realization that you just talking to another person could make somebody's life change so drastically and make it better on them. And we might just be kids, but I've had a very troubled childhood. I was sexually, mentally, physically. I was abused since I was about 3 years old, and I've bounced around through foster homes. I've struggled through addictions. I've been through love. I've been engaged twice. I'm still a kid, but I can relate to other kids, and the fact that I can help people and be there for people, and me knowing that I can be there for people just makes it so easy for me to love. And I know that, like, I shouldn't love everybody that I meet, but I do. And even if they're gonna hurt me, I still give them my love and affection. And I'm like, if you're gonna hurt me, you're gonna hurt me, but I'm gonna be here for you no matter what. And the fact that people trust me, people, like, they come up to me, they're like, I trust you, and I'm like, I try to present myself as a trustable and reliable person, because who I was before, I really didn't like who I was before, and I changed myself as a person. And if I can, I've had so many people die that I called my friends and my brothers and my sisters, and like my family. And if I could go back and do anything to help them, then I would. And I've been on the phone with a couple people while they killed themselves, and I tried to talk them down. I succeeded a couple times, and there's just sometimes where you can't do anything, and that shit'll mess with you in your head. That'll mess with you forever. If you hear somebody else die or see somebody else die, that will haunt your dreams for the rest of your life. And but the thing I can say is, if you don't try to help that person, like if there's a quiet kid in your school, if there's somebody that's struggling with depression, and you don't talk to them because you don't want to get involved, then at least send them to us, because you could be the difference between that person's life or death.
One thing I will say on that subject is a lot of us younger people, the ones that, haven't been around for too long, that don't have as much experience as a lot of these older people. In my personal cases, I've had a lot of these people look down on me because I'm so young and think that I don't know how to do anything because I'm younger than them. But the fact is, just because I'm young doesn't mean I'm completely inexperienced in everything. We all have our own personal talents, and our minds are as beautiful as any sunset or ocean or creek flowing through a river as anything I've ever seen. And that quiet kid in your school, maybe they're quiet because of these traumatic experiences they've had, or they're just not very social. And I personally would want to ask anyone who's listening to never bully or harass someone like that. Everyone's got, you know, problems in their own life, so why would you take your anger and frustration out on them or bully them because they're different? When anyone that is alive right now, it could be me, it could be Dezo, it could be your next door neighbor, any one of these people that are alive right now could make the biggest and greatest change in everyone's life. You never know what's going to happen, and not everything is going to be peachy and beautiful 24/7. I would never sit there and say, oh, your life's going to be perfect. It's going to be a tough road to travel, and the tougher the road you travel, sometimes the brighter the smile you'll produce.
I really feel how you say it, not bullying people, because I've known so many people that have been bullied, and I don't know if anybody knows this about me, but I don't even know if you know this about me, but I've been to jail. Um, yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, I've been to jail, and the fact that I was a nice person got me bullied a lot, and I just had to become a really hard person and somebody that nobody wanted to mess with, and that is never something you want to do to a person, because once that person has to do that, they're willing to do bullied, and if that means killing themselves, sometimes it does. And the effect that bullying has to do with people, like I would get stabbed for just like I got stabbed a couple times and I had to go to the ER, and because there was I would talk shit because I got bullied and that was the only thing I knew. And when that happens, it's so sad because like those people that are bullying people, they're actually hurting. That's what I found most times is they're hurting, or like they're just insecure about something, or they have to bully people to feel cool. And what they don't understand is it's not cool. You're making like it when people get bullied, they do kill themselves. That's not just like a myth or anything. I've seen about 23 people kill themselves that I've known personally and called my friends because they were getting bullied. One of them was with me in jail. He killed himself. He hung himself in my room when I was sleeping. And I woke up and I saw that shit. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And they came in and they cleaned him up. Then another kid came in and, he was getting bullied the exact same as he did. And I got let out. So I don't know what happened to that kid, but I'm willing to bet money that kid ended his life, because people don't know when to stop bullying. It's not funny, it's just hurtful. And the fact that people can bully people, and people can bully people and not notice that they're doing it. But the what completely appalls me is people can bully people through love, and that is what, like, that just makes me truly and utterly disgusted in people that bully people through love.
It really is a terrible thing when you're being manipulated by somebody that you thought you could love and trust. And I have my own personal story of an incredibly great friend of mine who is one of the sweetest, most loving people I ever met. Much better in the sense of how sweet he was and how caring than anybody else I had ever met in my entire life. And he got bullied so bad that they moved him to another school, and not even a week into him being in that school, he went home one day and killed himself. And it really hit hard when I found out, because somebody that I consider a very, very, very close friend of mine, I found them crying and the rest of the school crying coming out of the bathroom. And she just collapsed on me, telling me that he was dead. And I didn't believe it at first, because there was no way. He was such a happy-go-lucky guy. And that's the thing I've noticed about depression and bullying and a lot of stuff like that, is a lot of the people who get bullied and harassed and just are depressed, they're not gonna show it. They're not gonna put it on display, because they don't feel that they want to bother somebody else with their problems, because they feel that it's a burden to other people. And I personally wish that I had spoken to my good friend who passed away before any of that happened. I was personally too busy and wrapped up in my own drama to realize what was going on. And I wish more than anything to this day that I could do something about it. But I know that no matter how sad or depressing or upset that that situation makes me, I'm not going to let it tear me down. If anything, I look at it as an experience to help other people, to stand up for others who were being bullied, to be something that made people smile, be a role model.
Yeah, that's very true. And I don't know if any of y'all knows about me. I don't even know if you know this about me, but every day that I wake up, everybody all my friends that I know personally around me, I make up some whack story that sounds like I'm on a planet from Mars on an acid trip, and I send it to them and I make them laugh. I don't know if you know this, Dubs, but
No, I personally have not had the joy
oh,
of
like
that yet.
I think I sent you the one about catnip, but
Oh yeah, I think you did.
oh yeah, but the thing is when others, I had a friend, right, a really close friend, and she meant a lot to me, and I'm not proud of this, but I decided to have a kid at the age of 13, and my happy ass was like, all right, I'm gonna get this chick pregnant, and I got her pregnant, and she was 19, I was 13. I know it's hella illegal, but like whatever, right? All right, and
None of
I
you
I,
viewers out
I
there.
wound up, yeah, I wound up really liking her, but the fact that I liked her, she changed that, and she made me like her younger sister, and so I wound up falling in love with this 14-year-old girl because I liked her older sister so much, and that was the first problem. Okay, is I didn't love her because I wanted to be with her. I loved her because I loved her older sister, and I didn't realize that until after I had gotten her pregnant. And she gave birth, and her parents didn't let her get an abortion. And that was where I messed up. But her parents came to me and they're like, we never want child support. We just never want you to see this baby ever again. And I was 13 and I wasn't thinking right, right? So I was like, okay. And they were like, you aren't going to tell your parents or anything. We're just going to keep this a secret and you're never going to be a part of its life. And I was like, all right. And she was a teen mom, and shortly after she went into high school in her freshman year, me and her were still talking, and I was trying to be there for the baby as much as I could, but she was getting bullied because she was a teen mom, and it's disgusts me utterly. And I have fought in many people. I got in so many fights when I was in school to bullies and people that would bully other people, and I would beat them. Like I got so angry to the point where I would fight them. And it's it because of that one experience that was she killed herself shortly into her freshman year when she turned 14. And she killed herself, and she wrote me a note. And the note says it was I loved you more than anybody that I've ever loved in my life. And the fact that you would stay with me when everybody else hated me for having your child shows me that how good of a man that you are. And it still haunts me because the fact that I didn't love her for her. I loved her because I loved her older sister. It still haunts me, but I'm happy that she thinks that she was loved. And ever since then, I've been trying to change it. I've been trying to love every single person that I've ever came across, ever met, for who they are. And it's just a fantastic way to look at things because doing that, I found out that I never had to bully people ever again.
I have also had a friend, or three, I should say, who got incredibly bullied because they all got pregnant at high school, at the high school. And I saw how people were treating them, and it was absolutely disgusting to me. They were treating this person, this human being, like absolute garbage because they decided to do something that caused them to get them pregnant too early in life. And being a parent at a very young age, I personally don't know because the one that I was supposed to have a child with got savagely beat on the side of the road and lost my child. And hearing all sorts of stuff like that, how people can just treat others so terribly, it really does disgust me. Especially in situations like that. Because, like, in my own personal opinion, why would anyone think that, oh, hey, this person's pregnant, I'm going to go bully them? Like, where does somebody get their kicks out of that? I don't understand.
And it's also a common, the most common thing that I've ever seen is, oh, this chick is pregnant, she's a whore. Well, it's actually quite the opposite. If a chick is getting pregnant, she has obviously slept with one man to get pregnant. And the thing is like, yeah, sometimes a chick will go to a party and get pregnant because she fucked some random dude, but that's not often the case. It's often she loves her boyfriend so much that they have sex, they don't use a condom, and she gets pregnant.
Exactly. No, all three of these people that I know, this was the first person that they had had sex with that they got pregnant from. These were all their boyfriends, which actually goes hand in hand with what you were just saying. But on another note, I think it's about time to wrap this up.
Yeah, I gotta go help my little brother with homework, so I think it's about time to wrap this up. If you ever want to talk to anybody, my Snapchat is Dayzo Krohn, DAYZOKROHN, and my friend Dubs will be making a Snapchat to talk to you all as well. But until then, we will both talk to you through my Snapchat. So thank you all for listening. Somebody loves you and cares about you, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Just know you all are loved.